say, kids, what time is it?
Week number 6. What did you say? It was like a third of the season gone?
Pretty much.
Where did it go?
I know. Where did it go?
Well, for some teams, it started turning on them.
Yeah, this was one of those weeks where the haves and the have-nots kind of made it clear.
Anyways.
Yeah, some of them anyway, right?
I mean, there are still teams that we know are what they are, and and that's the way it's going to be for the rest of the season, probably. But some of them, well, what happened? A little speed bump, maybe, or somebody just figured them out. You know?
Yeah, it was. It was. I was bored. I to be honest with you, because I'm working a lot.
Yep.
I sat down Sunday afternoon and I had some lunch. And which game was I don't even remember which game it was. I think it was the Giants. I fell asleep.
Yeah, that was a really
for the
bad
rest
one.
of the day. I fell asleep. And I woke up and I saw that I did not miss anything really.
A good day to catch up on your sleep from the week, yeah, for sure.
It was bad. It was bad. So I this is the worst work week in a while as far as like long days, like 12 to 15 hours. And so I've been trying in between. I'm doing these jobs in between. I get like a half an hour sometimes. So I quickly just watch some highlights and I'm trying to get all caught up. So forgive my ignorance this week.
Hey, I don't think I'm that much better off catching up myself, but I probably know a little bit about every game, but not a lot into a specific one. I mean, I know one that I did get a chance to see a lot was the Dallas Patriots game, which I didn't think would go down to the wire into the overtime. Overtime seems to be a really. I mean, I know we had a lot of overtime in the past, but this year seems to be a lot more.
Yeah, there really has. Before we get into recapping this week, let's just quickly put our records up.
Yep.
I'm so proud of myself. I got a game back on you. I went 9-5.
Yep.
You see the 5?
This is definitely the worst week I've had, I think. Maybe since the first week.
I'm still trailing you by 5 though. So, it's not like I got a long way to go to catch you. It's going to be hard.
I can't believe how I misread a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's cray. So blowout city this week. Like every game was like super lopsided for the most part. Actually, I was going to say let's start at the 1 o'clock. Let's start at the 9 o'clock, 9 a.m.
Oh, right, yeah.
The Dolphins Jacksonville actually turned out to be one of the more competitive games of the week.
Which is the one game I didn't want to get into, but because it just tells me, this will be the season where the best the Dolphins can do is get a good draft pick and maybe be somebody who ruins somebody's playoff chances at towards the end of the year, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Tua. What are you going to do about him?
I still don't think that's definitely. He still has a chance. I think he can still be the quarterback. It just, I don't know. It could be like this team seems to have gone through a lot of. I don't want to say turmoil, but there was all these like weird moves that they've done, like where they sign somebody for a big contract and then the next year they let them go for some reason. There's a lot of instability, it seems like, all around. So I mean, it's definitely showing on the defense is nowhere near as what they were last year.
No, they are not.
And I don't know if the offensive line's doing that well. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. I see some bright plays from him, and then I see some clunkers, and it's hard for me to tell. Is it just him? I still think they should give him at least through the end of the season just to see. But it would be a shame that they have to start all over again.
I think
I don't
what
know.
looms large is that they passed on Justin Herbert.
Well, yeah, that kills me every week. Yeah, but to their, I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I remember, I remember clearly prior to that draft, and I was listening to all sorts of like sources and everything, and Justin Herbert was not like highly touted at all by most. I know San Diego was probably high on them. I mean, San Diego, LA Chargers the Chargers were probably high on them, but I saw a lot of people weren't, and it was just because where he played. I forgot where he played in college, but
In Oregon, yeah.
the system he played in did not show any of this stuff. Like they didn't let him be that the quarterback he is now. It was like a run first conservative type offense. So it would have been great if he was a Dolphin right now. But
To me, it's kind of football karma because back in 1983, a lot of teams passed on a guy named Dan Marino, and he fell to the Dolphins and ended up a Hall of Famer, right? So now the Dolphins got payback, I think.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Herbert seems to me like a Dan Marino.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So this Miami Jacksonville game, I did get to see some of this. I had a ball game in the morning. I got back and while eating and whatnot, I got to see the second half, and you could just feel it. You could just feel that this was the week that Trevor Lawrence got his first NFL win. You could just the Dolphins. They're I don't even know how to describe it.
Neither do I.
Like
Neither do I.
Self-destructive.
Yep.
There's something missing because they have talent. They're well coached. What is that? There's an intangible there that's causing this team to just they're just not winning ball games.
But it seems to permeate throughout every part of their team, even the coaching. I mean, how does he challenges 2 straight plays and loses 2 straight time play one after the other on plays? I really didn't think that was obvious that it was. I mean, obviously they didn't overturn it, but even to me watching, I was like, why are you even challenging that for 2 of them?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Desperation. I mean, you're getting.
Yeah,
I think he's at a point now. He's a really good coach, but the frustration is setting in. The panic is setting in, and when you kind of get desperate and you need to try to get a win somehow, some way, you're going to throw red challenge flags, right? You're going to try everything. I think that's where they're getting to right now at that point. So,
yeah, I guess you're right. They're probably at that panic, and then in a couple of weeks they'll be like, okay, this is how now we got to try to move forward and try to make something out of it, and for next season probably. But for now, yeah, you're right. At this point, they're like desperate to try something new, I guess. But I don't know.
And on the other side, all I could think of the whole time was how Jacksonville drafted Travis Etienne to replace Robinson. He looks awesome. That guy's running like
He's really good.
He's really good.
Wow.
He's probably going to find himself on another team next year because Etienne will come back and they're going to give him his shot, right?
Yeah.
That's really bizarre because he was good last year. I don't understand what that move was all about, but
I don't either.
But who knows what they're doing in Jacksonville? I mean, they got a college coach. They got their owner throws tons of money, and it's like he throws everything against the wall to see if anything will stick. And it's a weird situation. And we've talked about Jacksonville for about 7 minutes. Jacksonville and Miami, and that's got to be a record, right? Well, what do we need to do that for?
I didn't even want to talk about them because it's the Dolphins getting. I don't know. It's so I don't think I ever remember seeing. I'm sure there's examples. I don't remember seeing a season with such bright spots, and then the following season just a total it's almost like they just had a turnaround where a totally different team shows up.
I thought about what you've been saying is they got a lot of their wins last year built on special teams plays and defensive plays that are not happening this time.
Sixes, yeah.
They're not happening this time.
Yeah, it's always like that one big play that turns it around, turns the momentum around.
Right.
And sometimes that big play last year was like in the very first 5 minutes, and then they never look back.
Yeah, I was going to
So,
say a lot of them were in the first half last year, which established a tone defensively. Even I think of that Chiefs
wow.
game where they had the lead. They ended up losing to the Chiefs. But in
Yeah,
that first half, they were all over them. There was turnovers and special teams plays, and not getting that help this year.
nope.
Nope. So at 1 o'clock, it's like we had one good game in each time slot. Minnesota went on the road to Carolina and pulled off a win. And I don't know about Sam Darnold. He's starting to look very Jets, Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to keep going back to this, but Carolina, and it's not, it's a team sport, and you can't just say it's about one player. But Carolina, without McCaffrey, seems to always just they compete all the time. They compete every game, but then they just get right up and they can't get over the hump and win without him for some reason. I just there's no other explanation I could come up with.
Well, it really didn't help that DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, all of them, Hubbard, anybody he threw the ball to dropped it multiple times
It's
the
true.
other day.
That's true.
It
Maybe
was, I mean, how many drops? I think there was almost a dozen drops in that game. I mean, Sam, he was something like 12 for 30 at one point or something. You know, it's just nuts.
It's actually surprising. It was like such a
Yeah.
Minnesota's not has to get out of their own way as well. I thought this would be a close game regardless, but I just thought Carolina would be able to kind of right itself. But I don't know. They're not gonna be able to do much without fixing some of these problems. It's almost like the whole team is just feeds off that guy, and then what? Just the drops just happen because you don't think you're gonna do well. I don't know.
I don't know. And Sam is starting to look
Reverting back.
underconfident. He's right. The team that had swagger the first 3 weeks looks awfully scared. They look like they're playing scared. They're playing tight. And I don't know if it's going to get any better for them in the next couple of weeks. Sam Darnold might not be the quarterback in Carolina next year if this keeps up.
Yep.
Who knows? 4 o'clock, we had probably, I think, maybe the game of the week. The Patriots, who I thought would get skunked by Dallas, hung in there the whole game and took Dallas to overtime. Yeah. And I mean, the Cowboys did dominate statistically up and down the field. But the Patriots made the plays they had to when they had to and hung in there. And Mac Jones is starting to really look good.
Which is a Belichick trait. Like, even if you're undermanned and his team tend to make the key plays that kind of keep you in it, even though they got outgained by like double amount of yards. It's still they make some key plays that keep them in it. Now, both offense and defense. Like the Cowboys look like they were kind of like fighting themselves. They're 2 red zone turnovers that could have easily gone for touchdowns. I would have put the game away early, and they got to take. It's like this familiar theme now. Mahomes is doing it now too, and it's like you got to take care of the ball better, and you got to put these games away, or else you're going to find yourself like losing a game you have no business losing. It's just wow. And on defense, they showed their bright spots as usual. It's like this whole thing about a defense knowing they have to keep the opposing team out of the end zone, and yet somehow they get behind them. It's like, how does that happen all the time?
Well, Tony Romo actually pointed out it was just Dallas called a timeout when they were about to snap a crossing play. He already called that was going to happen, and they won the game on the same play where it just sent a guy from one side of the field to the other, and nobody came across with him. It's amazing that he was that wide open in overtime, but you know what?
Well, there's that one, and on the other side of it, the Cowboys could have put this game away, and then they let them go for 75 yards. What's that?
Oh yeah, that was a great play. The one to pass to Bourne.
It was a great play, but how are you not ready for? They have to get into the end zone, and time is running out. It's like all you have to do is keep it in front of you, but it's like somehow it always happens, or it happens a lot, and then we just made the game more exciting, I guess. because man, they're. I mean, they may make the Cowboys offense may make a lot of mistakes in terms of turnovers, but they're very resilient and they do what they need to do. It's Prescott really like. I remember way back when he broke into and people were just, people in the sports world saying, "Oh, game manager this and get man that he's not just a game manager; he can carry that team."
Yeah, no, he's clearly an elite. That night, I had another close one with the Steelers and the Seahawks, and this is one where, and I did watch this one, of course, most of it. This is
I had it
one
on. Yeah.
where I don't care who wins this game. These two teams can't compete at an elite level. They struggle for first downs. They struggle to do anything. Like it looks like a serious burden to score a point. They can't. I mean, it was, okay, the game was sort of entertaining. It was rather dull, to be honest with you. And I'm just the whole time, I'm like, neither one of these teams is any good. They're just not.
But on the Seattle side, is it because Wilson's not in there, or is
no?
it,
Their defense is a travesty.
Yeah.
They've lost too many parts.
Yeah.
So while it might have been entertaining for the casual fan, anybody who watches football can just see. You watch 5 minutes of this game, it's like these two teams are just abysmal.
Like going uphill, on mud or something. It's like little inches, inch by inch. What the heck?
That's exactly it. It's like walking down an up escalator. Like they look like they're mired in the muck. They can't get out of their own way. And, serious rebuilding in both cities. The Steelers, much less so. They have more young players, I think. The defense is very good. The quarterback and the offensive line are the problem. Seattle, they have a lot of they're a mess. And if they lose Wilson because he wants out of there, they're in big trouble.
Well, maybe Wilson can come to the Steelers then and solve that one. At least solve one problem.
That would be nice. I don't think it's going to happen. Did you see him doing that like fake game all by himself?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I actually
that was
saw that.
weird.
Is that just his? He does that every single time. Or is this, I know he obviously wasn't going to play, but it's just his pregame thing that he does all the time.
Yeah, I think it's because he's out, and it's the first game of 165 games in a row.
Yeah,
I think he's trying to stay mentally sharp.
Yeah.
He clearly has a problem coping with injuries, and we'll get to another guy in a bit about that. And lastly, the game I beat you on last week in our picks, Tennessee, man, they just
that one in the Patriot that might be the game of the week actually, but
they hitched their saddle to Derrick Henry. I missed this game. I didn't get to watch it.
Oh, you missed it! Oh, wow.
Missed it.
Okay. I was like shocked the whole time. It's like, really? Holy cow!
I kind of wasn't. That's exactly kind of how I expected it to go in looking at the highlights and stuff. Yeah, and
I was shocked more like that. The Buffalo offense did what they had to do. I was just shocked more that the Buffalo defense, which had been playing better, I thought, was just, wow, you're that vulnerable, I guess. But maybe they just didn't play the team that can match up against them all this time or the last few weeks. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's the key.
Well, it's funny you say that because a lot of times on paper it looks like, well, this should be a mismatch, but it comes down to matchups, and sometimes some teams just don't match up against others. The Bills' defense maybe built more to defend the pass, and Henry went to town on him. I mean, that guy, though, I don't care. I mean, if you can't get him at the line of scrimmage, once he gets moving, and he's fast for a big dude. He's really fast. So
I think someone I can't verify this, but they said in one of those runs they clocked him at the fastest of a running back so far this season.
I think I saw that he ran like 21 miles an hour on that long one.
Well, I mean, not that he's heavy. He's healthy, but once that extra weight gets moving, it's like that adds to the speed too. You just have to stay up. You don't have to, can't stumble and stuff.
You don't want that dude coming downhill at you and trying to tackle him, man. Holy crap! Can you imagine?
I would get out of the way.
And that's why I think it's been his story his 3 or 4 years in the league, how he seems to get stronger in the second half. And I think part of his getting stronger in the second half is that these guys don't want to tackle him anymore.
Right.
And they're just tired of getting run over.
Well, yeah. During the course of the game, I'm sure the defensive players start getting the nicks and cuts and fatigue. So it's like, oh, come on.
Yes.
And the that effort isn't there as much as it is at the beginning of the game, probably. So, yeah. Even I'm not even like disagreeing. I don't even know if it was brought up or not about that decision at the end of the game. I don't disagree with that at all. Yeah, I would go for it on fourth down there.
Oh God, yeah.
Your chances are, 9 out of 10 or 99 out of 100, you're gonna get in there. So I don't fault that decision.
No, with Josh Allen,
yeah,
you got a 6'5", 250-pound quarterback. You should be able to get 1 yard.
Did look like he
slipped.
Slipped.
Yeah, he slipped.
So
if he doesn't slip, they probably win the game.
Yeah, probably.
They probably get that, and at minimum kick the field goal and go in overtime.
Right.
But, yet another overtime. But yeah, and I just
almost.
You got to wonder, how long is Tennessee going to be able to do this though? How long are they going to be able to ride Derrick Henry? What if he gets hurt? Are they done? We'll have to see. I mean, there's 11 games to go, so yeah.
I honestly, we're talking about like important players like McCaffrey with Carolina. I honestly do think that they won't be competitive without him this year. The way they're built like that, they won't be.
Especially if Julio can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
Or AJ Brown. They're both always hurt. They both left the game again. Julio re-aggravated his hamstring, and Brown got sick. He had he ate something bad. He was throwing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that was it. And Tannehill will, the defenses are just gonna smash into him if Henry's not back there. You're not gonna hesitate to take down Tannehill. Then they'll really get.
Which is why come playoff time with all the mileage on Derrick Henry, how much can you count on them to?
That's a good question.
We'll find out. I mean, in years past, he's still had tread on the tire. He took Baltimore out 1 year, and the guy's amazing.
That wear and tear, though, now they're added another game this year.
Yep.
I don't know.
Another game, and this is his fourth year as a starter, I think.
And they're uniquely that way, where they have that one player. It's like there's a lot of teams that go back and forth. Even if they have the main running back, they'll still have a tandem. But him, it's like a unique situation. It's just one guy that does almost all the work.
Yeah, I think of Dallas has a nice situation with Pollard, and they have a really nice situation. Anything else of note you wanted to bring up before we move into our picks?
Oh, just for there's another team. Oh, for the Chargers and for what is the other team that I was like shocked at? Not Arizona, but so the way the Chargers got beat soundly against Baltimore, it's like, is that just a glitch or a blip, or did Baltimore just figure out a blueprint for it? We'll have to see.
You know what I think with that one? I think I violated my own thinking, because I always think, okay, West Coast team coming east, playing at 10 a.m. to their body clock.
That's a good point that I didn't really.
I totally ignored that. Yeah.
I forgot what. There was another game that was like somebody whose favorite really got. Yep, but and the other point was just Arizona. Just they now look like the only unstoppable team, and against like what happened to the Cleveland defense? Like 2 weeks in a row, giving up over 40. That team's a mess now. They got the Thursday game coming up.
Yep.
That was it.
Yeah, I was going to say Chargers in Arizona for opposite reasons were shocking. And to me, Vegas, good on them. The Raiders, they stepped it up for their new coach.
Yeah.
But I do love, did you see what Derek Carr said about the whole situation?
No.
I didn't know. I guess these two are like, they live next door to each other, really close by each other. Carr and
really?
Gruden.
Wow.
And Carr said, he put it perfectly. He said, like, I despise what he said and what he did, but I love that man. And he said, and what bothers me about the whole thing is that, the people who are coming down so hard and want to get rid of him need to stop and think, are they perfect? He was kind of like, if anybody went into I've done some stupid things. We've all done stupid things. I think he summed it up perfectly. He could have played it safe and been like, "Oh, no comment, this and that, we're moving on." And he kind of laid it out as I would have, like, yeah, Gruden was wrong, and yeah, he's going to pay for it. But to try to, like, take him down from the Ring of Honor and all this stuff, and demean his accomplishments because, are you that perfect a person? And again, someone else brought it up on some radio show or something I heard in the car. Like, if he's sending emails that say those things to people, the people reading those emails are comfortable with what he's saying because they know, and they're the same way. So let's just not, isolate Chucky here. I think there's a bigger problem. So.
Oh, I agree, and I think there's a certain, and maybe this has always happened, but it seems to be happening now more. There's a certain part of today's culture that is like, you can't. It's like, so we're saying that only a perfect person is, you can't. That's the only person you're not going to take down, but nobody's perfect. So what are you talking about? It's like this whole thing about with the statues and stuff like that.
Right.
With all the people, Jefferson and all. Those are there for the good that they did. We're not trying to say it's okay that everybody is not perfect and has some things that they're not proud of. But that's not what that's there for. That's there for not for their whole entire every aspect of their life. So stop trying to make it like everybody's perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody is.
Not to get overtly political on our NFL show, but the Thomas Jefferson thing is a perfect example of the guy helped write the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, all the things that give you the freedom to do and say what you want. But because he partook in it was the societal norm of the time. Right. He was just one of these regular, everyone. Now you have to take the statue down and forget the fact that he gave you the ability to do that. Right. So it's just stop, because the sensibilities of his time were different, and we know better now. There's no reason to go retroactively. I mean, you and I grew up, we were teenagers in the 1980s. Things were a lot different in the 1980s.
A lot.
So, we're going to go back and punish me for what I did when I was 15 or 16.
You can't always judge a person by at that time period that they lived in, because at the time it wasn't considered wrong, or it wasn't considered something horrible or anything like that. And 50 or 100 years from now, they're going to look back on our time and say, what these people thought was the law was horrible. How could they be like that? And that's the way it is. So can't judge them outside of their time era.
Yeah, unfortunately, social media has poured so much gas into these little campfires. It's there's no way it would not be. My 9-year-old daughter likes to say, she goes, "Dad, the internet ruined the world straight up."
Yeah, there you go.
Straight up. 9 years old. It's like, wow, you should run for president.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe then they'll figure out how to navigate the internet or whatever in a different way.
Yeah, maybe.
So toxic.
Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, should we kick off this week 7 party, because week 6 was kind of shitty?
It was crappy for me.
It was bad. I'll try to stay awake this week. Let's start with the buys. We got 6 teams on a buy. This is unheard of.
So only 13 games this
AFC, week. You've got the Los Angeles would-be San Diego Chargers, the Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. In the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings. So 5 winning teams, if you will. 5 marquee teams in the Jags.
And the Jags.
And the Jags. So, it's kind of weird. You'd have Buffalo, Dallas, the Chargers, all the same week. Strange. So, let's get right into it. Tomorrow night, Thursday, 8:20 p.m. on Amazon Prime and the NFL Network and Fox, I believe. I just didn't want to clutter it with any more broadcast logos. The 3-3 Broncos travel to Cleveland to take on the now struggling 3-3 Brownies.
And let's face it, both these teams are now struggling. I think they both did they both start out 3-0 and went to 3? I know Broncos definitely started out 3-0, and now we don't know who they are anymore.
Cleveland
I'm not
lost
sure
the
about
opener to
They
Kansas
might have lost
City.
an early one, but
Cleveland lost.
Yeah.
They should have won that game. They made one mistake and lost the game.
Yeah, 3-1 and now 3-3. And their story is they become this year's San Francisco 49ers right now. Both their running backs are out, I believe.
Yep.
And that's what their bread and butter is. So we don't know what that's going to do.
Both their running backs, both their tackles in Mayfield.
Tackles, right. And Mayfield, I don't know. He could play with that shoulder injury?
No, Case Keenum is announced as the starter already.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
That just throws everything up in the air for me. I don't know who to pick. I'm still going to go with my original one, even though it's going to be bad. I'm going to stick with Cleveland, although that really is a big blow. The fact that you just I didn't realize that Case Keenum was named as a starter this week. It's such a shame that it was such a short week and for them to recover this, but it's like I don't know. If the Broncos weren't such a mess of a team as well, I would have easily picked them, but I'm still going to go with Cleveland here.
Yeah, Cleveland, talk about bad luck. And, I think if the game was Sunday, Nick Chubb might have been able to play. Hunt's gone for a while. And I think Mayfield's going to be gone for... I know he's going to try to come back. He keeps popping his shoulder out because he has a torn labrum. And at some point, that's going to go for good. And... are they going to have Baker Mayfield down the stretch if he doesn't just sit the hell down right now for a while?
Yeah. If he rushes it, then it might be worse.
And I get it. He's a gamer. I love Baker Mayfield. I do. And it's amazing because when he got drafted, I was laughing. I'm like, he's terrible. He has earned my respect. I love him. I'm going Denver.
Okay. And I don't blame you at all.
I think the Broncos... the Broncos are not in such a free fall. The Browns are in a super free fall right now. Short week. They've got to get Keenum ready. Sadly, I think the Browns are going to be 3-4 after this one.
Yeah.
Another tough one. Moving to Sunday, 1:00 on Fox. The struggling Carolina Panthers at 3-3 head to New York to play the Giants, the 1-5 Giants. Ouch.
And the Giants seem like also the same type of mess as Cleveland, actually. So ironic that we went right to that game.
Yeah.
I know Cleveland's lost 3 in a row now, and I think they're going to figure out a way to win this one. Although I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't. But because the Giants are, Barkley's out. I think. Is his name Tooney, the receiver that they just
Tony?
They just love the guy, and now he's out.
Yeah,
I believe. And I don't know, the Giants are kind of reeling, and I know they're home, but I'm looking to see if Carolina can just right that ship just for this week at least.
Well, okay.
We're gonna go all different in every single game.
I've got the Giants.
Okay.
I'm with you. I'm a little torn. I just Sam Darnold doesn't look right to me, and the Panthers just put McCaffrey on the 3-week IR. He's gone for at least 3 more weeks.
Yep.
They are starting to show, as you mentioned earlier in the show, that they don't know what to do without him now. I think the short-term fixes were working, but I think the long-term fixes are not, or the long-term fixes are getting in their head and they're not sure that they're solutions. I don't know what's going on, but they don't look right at all. The Giants are a prideful bunch. They just got smashed by the Rams at home, and I have a feeling. I just have a feeling that Daniel Jones is going to find a way to pull one out here at home. So I got the Giants. So sorry, but
this might be the week you just catch all the way up.
This is funny. Usually we're the same. Right now we're different on 2 games in a row. Sticking in New York, Sunday 1:00 on CBS. The New York Jets at 1-4 travel up here to Foxborough to play the 2-4 Patriots.
Yeah, I know the Jets had a bye week, but I don't see the Patriots losing this game. Um, two games in a row at home. And the Jets offense is not the Cowboy offense. So I think Belichick will have them kind of like boxed in for most of the game. And Mac Jones probably won't have to do a lot, but he'll make his plays and win this game.
Yeah, Bill Belichick against a rookie quarterback. We know that story. We know how that's going to play out. Again, right? Zach Wilson's throwing a ton of picks this year. Patriots do have a lot of veterans on their defense. I think the Patriots defense is going to smother that Jets offense. And Mac Jones, every week, gets a little bit better. And he's starting to look like a comfortable NFL quarterback. He did not blink against Dallas last week. He didn't blink.
Right.
I mean, they get down, he goes in there, hits a 75-yard pass. Like he looked really good. I go back, I'm thinking like week 1 and 2 watching him. I was like, ew. Was this a mistake? Here we are, 4 or 5 weeks later. He's looking like a bona fide NFL quarterback to me. Patriots, I think they're going to blow him out, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you make a good point with Mac Jones. After throwing a pick six, and he had to be thinking, I just blew this game all by myself. Comes back right back, and wow, that was a good.
Yeah, he's got poise.
A sign of a good.
He's got poise. It's a sign of a good quarterback. It's a sign of great coaching. They're bringing him along slowly. They're not giving him, you go back to that week 1, their playbook looked so vanilla. They didn't give him much to do at all, and each week they give him a little bit more to do and a little bit more responsibility, and they're building confidence. Josh McDaniels is a phenomenal offensive coordinator. He knows just when to give a gadget player to take the pressure off of him. You can see it coming. By the end of the season, I think he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the AFC. He looks good. All right, next up, this one's a tough one. The 3-3 resurgent Chiefs travel to Tennessee at 1 o'clock on CBS to play Derrick Henry.
This is gonna bite me again. Yeah. I'm hoping because I'm gonna just say right away I'm gonna pick the Chiefs here. I'm hoping that what they did in the second, although that's hasn't happened in the previous, what they did in the second half against Washington will carry over. And it's like, please just don't start the game so nonchalant by like getting in the hole and like giving the ball away and stuff. But after how the Titans played, that worries me a lot. Is the ball going to be kept away from Mahomes just by giving it to Henry for 30 or 40 times? Because the Chiefs defense doesn't seem to be able to do much these days. So I'm still going to go with the Chiefs, but again, this is one of those where I say, if I'm wrong, it'll be like, yeah, no, no surprise.
Okay. To me, it's a question of, do the Chiefs go 3-4 or do the Titans go 4-3?
That's a good question. That's a good point too.
Titans are going 5-2. The Chiefs are going 3-4.
Okay.
Only because the Titans are home. I know it's a short week and whatnot, but they're home. They didn't have to go anywhere. They're balling out. They're going to have their wide receivers. At least they'll have A.J. Brown. He shouldn't still be stomach sick. The Chiefs can't. Their defense, they can't stop the run. They're not going to stop this run. They're going to get shredded by Henry, and I think that's the key. It's going to keep Mahomes on the sideline. Can I see the Chiefs coming down the field at the end and pulling out some miracle win? Sure. But
because the Titan defense doesn't show me a lot either. But
no, but I gotta go with Tennessee at home. I think they're riding a high, and the Chiefs are schizophrenic right now. I don't know what's going on with them. They're weird. They're weird. Every time you think, okay, they got the thing figured out, nope. And they were losing at halftime to Washington, weren't they?
They were.
Yeah.
Every single, I think almost every single game this year has been the same exact thing.
And it started late last year. Even in the playoffs, they get down by 2 scores.
It's like they're fighting each other in the first half, and then the second half they figure something out, and usually they pull it out, but not this year. If you're playing a good team, nope.
And they're turning the ball over like crazy. Mahomes is throwing a lot of picks.
Yep.
So that's going to be the game to watch, but I'm going to stick with Tennessee on that one. So we got 1, 2,
See, you're
3 different.
You're going to pick up 3 games already.
Or I'll fall farther behind. Next up, the aforementioned Washington football team at 2-4 travels to Lambeau Field to play Green Bay at 5-1 on Fox at 1 p.m.
Yeah. Packers at home. The way their offense is playing, Rodgers, finding Adams all the time. It doesn't matter who the defense is. No defense has figured out. I mean, if Washington figures out how to cover him, then I'll give him dibs for that. But man, and on the other hand, where has the Washington defense from last year gone? We have not seen trace of them this year. So until I see that any kind of capability of stopping them, I have to go with the Packers here.
Where are Young, Sweat, and Payne? Where are those guys? What's the deal? What's the deal with the Reds?
I don't know.
Yeah, this one
That's been a shocker.
I don't think this will be close. Green Bay looks awesome. That week 1 loss to New Orleans was an aberration, clearly, because they're just firing on all cylinders right now. So I can't see them losing to pedestrian Washington at home.
At this point, I can't believe how far it has gone from when we're thinking preseason Washington might win this division to this.
I know. It's weird. Next up, this is a tough one. 1 o'clock on CBS. Cincinnati Bengals at 4-2 travel to the 5-1, 5 wins in a row Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, and I love the Bengals this year too. But in Baltimore, I think the Ravens are just, I don't know. Like you brought this up before with the coaching system they have there, overcomes so much. And then you see what they did, despite all their injuries, what they did against the Chargers. I think Cincinnati offense is somewhat similar to the Chargers offense, not as good. And Baltimore, I think, has that formula. It might be close, but I definitely Ravens in this one.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are scalding hot right now. I mean, what they did to the Chargers was just who would have thought that, right?
Well, we're gonna see what the Chargers do from now on, whether that's gonna carry over to anything.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, Cincinnati's a nice story, and they are definitely on the upward trajectory. But I don't think they're in the elite class that the Ravens are right now. I think you're gonna see the Ravens are gonna show them what they need to do to get to the next level and just paste them at home.
And the Ravens defense is really showing up now.
Yeah, they are. And that secondary's a mess. Secondary's a mess, which is why I took the Chargers last week and broke my West Coast, East Coast rule because I'm like, Justin Herbert's going to go nuts on that beat-up secondary that the Ravens have. Nope.
Oh, what happened? Oh.
They're really well coached. They're amazingly well coached.
Yep.
So we both got the Ravens there. So next up, this will be an easy one too. We go to the 4 o'clock games, 4:05 on Fox. 0-6 Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
Rumbles into SoFi Stadium to play the 5-1 Rams.
Yeah, if Detroit figures out a way to win this game, this will be the point in the season where I'm like, oh, that's it. I give up. I'm going to stop. I know nothing about football if the Lions win this game, other than some bizarre major, not even if there's an injury, it still should work. And I really feel for the Detroit Lions because they were competitive at the beginning of the year, probably should have won at least 1 or 2 games, and now it's kind of just got to the point where it's at this point you're 0-6. Where are you going to get that enthusiasm to keep coming back and playing hard? Especially, I mean, the Rams are just a powerhouse too.
Well, their motivation, I think, comes down to the quarterbacks. You have Goff going against the Rams, and you have Stafford going against Detroit. The revenge game for both sides. But Dan Campbell this week came out and said Jared Goff needs to step it up.
Yep.
And my friend Chris Carter, that I worked with at ESPN, pointed out that as a coach, you shouldn't do that. You should have your players' backs. You say that to them in private, but you don't take it to the media. Yeah, that said, I could have told him that when he traded for Jared Goff. Right. That was a huge mistake. So, yeah, I think Stafford's going to... This is going to be ugly, man. Stafford's going to go nuts on the Detroit for ruining half his career.
Yeah, and that's probably Campbell's frustrations coming out again, doing that.
Like I said, remember I said last week, he seems like the guy who graduates college and then starts working at that college, just never stays the student forever.
Yeah.
Campbell doesn't have, he can't, he's still a player.
Can't separate that. Yep.
Right. So next up, we have a rematch of Super Bowl 15, I think it was.
Oh, the
15,
Eagles.
Yeah. 4:05 on Fox. The 2-4 Eagles traveled to, well, they didn't play, they played the Oakland Raiders, or were they the LA Raiders at the time? No, they were
definitely Oakland, I think.
No, I think they were LA. It was Tom Flores.
Wow. Okay.
Tom Flores was maybe they were still, I don't know. I'll have to go back in the old memory banks for that one, but the 4-2 Raiders.
Surprisingly, I went back and forth on this one.
Yeah, this one's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, and my final thought wound up, you're probably going to be shocked, but with the Eagles. I think the Raiders had like a very emotional win last week, and it's going to be hard to do that every year or every week. Now, I still see Carr still playing. I'm glad to see Carr still playing very well, despite the controversy of coach leaving. But I think the Eagles have that I forgot what it's like. It's like a college type offense with a running, with Hurts running.
Match up run pass option stuff.
Yeah, they match up well against the Raiders. I'm going to go with the Eagles here. I know it's in LA, but going with the Eagles.
Shocking.
Give you a chance to catch up.
No, it's shocking, but it's not. Like you said, this could easily go the other way. The Eagles played pretty well against Tampa Bay last week. I mean, the game was never in doubt. It was Tampa Bay all the way. And even when the Eagles got close, you kind of knew, wow, Tom Brady will just step on their necks. Right. But they were competitive. They hung in there. They weren't smoked. They didn't look overmatched. They just they looked like a team that doesn't have the assets that Tampa Bay has. That said, this is a pick 'em for me, but I'm gonna stick with the home team. I think the Raiders, they stumbled a little bit, but it looks like they may still have what was working for them early on. This will be the week that tells me. If they lose to the Eagles, then they'll become that Raiders team that'll be middling and end up 8-9, 9-8. That's who they are, who I thought they were going to be. But right now, I'm going to say that they're still... I was shocked because after the Chucky thing, I was like, they're going to collapse. But they came back this week and looked like the Raiders of the first 3 weeks. So I'm going to go with them one more time. Why not? So we're different there. Got a lot of different games this week.
Yeah.
All right, next up. Why even put it on? 4:25 CBS. The 1-5 Houston Texans travel to the desert to take on the 6-0 Arizona Cardinals.
It'll just be just like the NFL if Houston wins this game. If they're the ones who take them out of the undefeated.
I think the spread is 15.5 on this game. And that's today, Wednesday. It might go up.
Yeah. By the time we finish this, it'll be like 30. But so Arizona, I mean, how can you even pick against Arizona and like just about against any opponent at this point? It's like at this point you have to see them stumble. It's amazing how they, you knew their offense was great. Even last year they were really good until I forgot it. Until the quarterback got injured really bad, and then
Murray, yeah.
And then that they never recovered from that, and I don't think he completely recovered from it either. But healthy, it's like, and now their defense is showing up. Wow, I don't know how Houston's gonna like. I don't know. I'd love to see the total yardage to get on this one.
I think if we were picking with points, we'd still have to take the Cardinals minus 16.
Oh yeah, I would.
Yeah, what a bloodbath this is going to be. The only thing the Cardinals want to do here is not get hurt. You just want to play this
That
game
in
clean
this
and
type of
get
game,
out,
yeah,
right? These are
your
the kind of games.
season, yeah,
This is where you find like, oh no, Kyler Murray, tore up his knee, or you know, well, I think Chandler Jones is still out, right? His COVID thing. I'm not sure if he's even playing, but say J.J. Watt, who's playing great again.
yeah,
That's if you're Arizona, you just want to figure out a
yeah. You're
game
right.
plan where
We
you
don't want to
win
see
this
this.
game and walk away unscathed, right? So,
Yeah,
next up, the Bears. The 3-3 Bears travel to Tampa at 4:25 on CBS to take on.
and the Bears, who I really haven't seen a lot of them, but seem to be a little bit more competitive than they were at the beginning of the year. So I like that change. The new quarterback, new play caller. Um, but that being said, they're going to Tampa Bay, and I mean the Bucks are just have them outmatched in like almost every position on the field, both offense and well, maybe, yeah, even on defense. I think they're better. So I think Bucks easily here.
Yeah, same. I don't see how Tampa Bay can blow this unless what I just said about Arizona happens, like somebody gets hurt, like Tom Brady.
Well, yeah,
But aside from one knee injury in 22 years, he's pretty much remained healthy. So, yeah, you're right about the Bears. They look better, but they're still a team that like they struggle to score 20 points. That's who the Bears are. They're like the Steelers and the Seahawks, and you know what I mean. Like
they do.
they,
You're right.
they can't get in a shootout with anybody because they can't score. Their defense holds them in, and against
For a
lesser
while.
opponents, right, they can pull off.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be able to outscore Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay in a track meet win. Next up, the primetime game Sunday at NBC, 8:20. The 2-4 Indianapolis Colts head out to the Bay to take on San Francisco at 2-3.
And the Colts playing much better. You know, uh, Jonathan Taylor running really well behind that offensive line. Their defense is doing well. Um, I think they're going to run into 49ers team who's been on a bye and are usually really good coming off a bye and being in San Francisco. I'm going to go with them, even though the Colts played so. I mean, it was against Houston, so I got to take that into account. But I like the way the Colts are going right now. But I think San Francisco will win this game.
All right, we're different again. I'm taking the Colts.
Holy cow! It was amazing how last week we went through the whole thing and the same until like the last game, and this one's like all over the place.
We're all over the place. The Colts, I think, have figured it out. It looks like the last couple weeks they've finally figured it out. And it might have been Wentz adjusting to the new system. Although he was never really to blame. He's not putting up like spectacular numbers, but he's not throwing picks or anything. Like
No.
He's not losing them games. It took a while to get Taylor moving. The defense was a mess for a couple weeks, but the last few weeks, even in losses, they look good. They went toe to toe with the Ravens in Baltimore, and then they just blew the doors off Houston. I think the Colts are on an upward trajectory. They're figuring out their footing. The 49ers are starting to look like last year's 49ers. They're all beat up. They have a quarterback problem, let's face it.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, I think the Colts are going to come in there riding high and hit the list 49ers right in the chops. So, I'm going Colts. Which brings us to Monday night. The 3-2 New Orleans Saints, coming off a bye, travel up to Seattle to take on the Gino Smith-led Seahawks at 2-4.
Again, coming off a bye, they do very well under Sean Payton, and I know it's Seattle, and Seattle, traditionally being really good at home, but we've just spent a little bit saying how they're not doing very well. Their defense is just a shell of their former self. Russell Wilson's not even in there, so they have a hard time on offense as well. So this definitely go with the Saints here.
Yeah, Geno Smith played. I don't want to say
They were
good.
Yeah,
I will say
okay.
good. He played well. He made one mistake, and it cost him the game in overtime.
Yeah.
But they're on backup running backs. Alex Collins, former Raven, tore up the Steelers, but I don't see him doing that again. I don't know. I if Russell Wilson was playing, I'd probably still lean on the Seahawks at home, despite their really crummy defense.
Yeah, I think so too.
But and what's always scares me is the Saints on the road. When the Saints go outside on the road, they're not the same. But that said, they have too much talent. And Sean Payton, like you said, coming off a bye week, will have them ready. I think it's going to be a tight, low-scoring game, believe it or not. But I think the Saints will pull it out.
Oh, I agree.
I mean,
but even
Jameis Winston, almost the Gino Smith clone in a way. He's a little better than Gino, but that's going to be an interesting game Monday. That could go either way, but I'm with you.
I agree. I'll
go Saints on that one too. So,
but even that tendency of the Saints of the big difference at home and away, it hasn't really followed this year. I mean, this is why this year I still don't know who the Saints are, because they tend to do that. They somehow lose badly at home, and then they.
Right.
Although I know the beginning of the year wasn't really home, but games after that at home wind up getting beat badly, and then they go away and they win. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm going to throw that one up and flip a coin on that one and go Saints at home. So
I think a lot of these games, probably like half of this week's games, I think could no shocker there.
They are, yeah.
That it went either way.
Yep. So wow, this is going to be interesting because we got a lot different. So either I'm going to fall like miles behind, or I'm going to catch up a little bit here.
I mean, usually when we have this, it tends to like go right around like half and half, and then maybe one person picks up a game or two. But
we'll see. And thank you out there for sending your picks. Last week, Boston Sports Report not only sent picks for every game.
I'm sure they beat that.
Put scores.
Wow. We don't even do that.
I know, that's ballsy. Thank you, Boston Sports Report. We're looking forward to that again if you
that was really good.
So inclined, yeah. Yep.
Oh gosh.
Yep.
I'm not sure how we would do with that one.
Yeah, well, a lot of the games where he had them scored close, but and they were a lot of them were blowouts, but that's hard to do. I mean, we're not even picking with points. We're just picking straight up, and we can't get it right.
I think we should do that in the playoffs.
Try to score the games?
Yeah. Like give our picks and then what the scores are.
Okay.
Because it'll be not as many games.
Why don't we go all the way and also pick it with the spread?
Oh, geez. Okay.
I don't know. That spread thing is tough. Yeah. Because the problem with picking with the spread is if the spread's like, say, 4.5, and you think it's going to be a field goal game, you're going to pick the team that's going to lose.
Right.
So it changes the fundamentals of picking.
I know. I mean, you could say that so-and-so is going to win, but they're not going to cover, I guess. But I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not getting into that.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe just the Super Bowl. We could give a final score.
All right.
Did we already do that at the beginning? I thought.
Last year, I think we did that.
Oh, okay.
I think I don't remember.
I wasn't sure if we did that show where we were gonna like kind of hammer down our what playoffs are like way ahead of time what we think the playoffs. But I think we just did the divisions, which some of them are good or bad. Like at the beginning of this year.
Oh yeah.
We did a preseason with the division, but we haven't done where our predictions for playoffs at. I think we did that last year, probably around week 9 or 10.
Last year we did a bracket, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and mine was gone like wild card weekend.
Well, my Washington winning the division isn't looking too good either.
I had them too. Neither is my Raiders in last place.
Oh,
there's probably more in there too, but.
Well, I think I had San Francisco winning the division.
A lot of people had San Francisco going to the Super Bowl. Yeah,
they're going to be in last, or like maybe Seattle. Well, we did pick Seattle to be in last, so that might track really well.
Hey, we got Detroit right.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Look, we're geniuses.
Yeah.
We'll see. We got a long way to go. 10 weeks after this, or 11.
Yeah. That's the way. I mean, you get on some kind of bandwagon like week 4 or 5, and then it kind of just changes completely by week 11 or 12. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this. One of us is going to be throwing our little pick pad this week. So
This week's gonna be, I'll be like, what the?
always am.
I don't know.
It's always head scratching. So we'll see. And please send in your picks. And again, if you want to join us here to make picks, let us know. We'd be happy to bring you in. That's it for me. Is that it for you?
Yep, that's it for me. 1/3.
All right. Good luck. And like, share, subscribe, comment, complain, whatever. We'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up below. Also, please subscribe to GeekTime TV. It really helps us grow the channel. And make sure you hit that bell icon in order to receive notifications every time we drop new content here. You can also check us out on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at GeekTimeNet. Thanks again for watching. We will see you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?